All right, everyone, bringing in Peter Overzet. We try and do this once every couple of months. Our schedules, though, they get a lot busier during the season. You also could be listening to this on Pete's YouTube. But Pete, I mean, how are you doing, buddy? It's like we are incapable of having a conversation that is not recorded. So I really haven't talked to you.
I know. I don't even remember. We probably did it like in July, maybe. Was the last time we did it. And I mean, we haven't even talked much on air since you became an NFT bro with our Club MGMI friends. So yeah, we have lots to catch up on.
Yeah, the NFT stuff really kind of took me by storm, and I've gone through like a whole life cycle of NFTs. Honestly, since we have last done one of these shows, like the last time we did it, I had like never minted anything. I went through a period of minting everything, minted a bunch of dust, minted a couple good things, and my wallet is very clean at this point.
Yeah, you run a tight ship over there. You know, you get in and get out. Not too many moon bags for old Davis over there.
Well, and I just like if I get the vibe that something is gone, I'm not holding one just in case it comes back. Like I'm listing them all, and I'm listing them below 4, and I'm just getting rid of them.
See that? Yeah, I think I'm kind of in between. I don't know if people checked out last night. I've been simulcasting it in the Club MGMI guys broadcast on Monday nights. They had Allison on from the Discord, who has the most insane diamond hands you've ever heard of. And then a lot of guys, of course, in the Discord are pure flippers. I kind of find myself a little bit in the middle as far as playing to my strengths. Like I'm not as good of a flipper and trader as a lot of these guys. I also don't have like total diamond hands. So I'm kind of in the middle. Like I want to get in the green, and then I'm completely fine holding one or two and just knowing, yes, I might get dusted on it, but I want to have a few moonshot opportunities.
I mean, literally every time I tried to do that, I just got dusted. Like when I started minting like 5 of things or 10 of things, it would be on things that were total, like, I mean, total rug pulls, right? Like the koalas literally were just a rug pull. Like it was literally just a scam. Or what was the Tokyo 10s, which was, I mean, not that I am some NFT guru, but that was the fastest I have ever seen something go from like a legitimate gas war to have to mint it to an hour later. They were selling for 0.02.
Yeah. I would say for you that the tens were bad luck. But it does seem like you have a tendency to want to mint the super dusty cheap projects. And so it kind of like self-selects a bit.
I mean, for a while there, I was just like minting everything, right?
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh, if someone posts a mint link, I'm going to mint. And then I got a little bit more selective. And then I mean, this is always what happens, right? So I get a little bit more selective, and I miss, what was it? The mutant cats that Gump dropped in Club NGMI, and those were like immediate moon bags. Didn't mint those, but then minted, some crappy shit the next day that sucks. So it's, I don't know. I'm sure there is definitely a little bit of skill. Well, I know there is. There's definitely a little bit of skill in figuring out like, okay, this is more of something that's going to be sustainable, or this is something that literally is an immediate flip. But I definitely did get burned a couple times. Thank God for Top Shot.
Well, I think a good analogy would be to apply it to like DFS. Like some of these really dusty mints are like tossing the $3, play action tournament on DraftKings where there's like 500,000. Yeah. And yes, you could win 100,000, but your odds are just so small. Same with these projects. Like it's basically guaranteed that you're just pissing away the money, but there's this small lotto chance that it hits. Whereas if you're willing to pay a little bit more and get in the 3 max, get in the single entry, get a, $400 entry in the juke, it's like, yeah, you're having to pay more, you're having to pay some gas, but the odds are probably much more in your favor of returning a profit.
Yeah, getting into the gas wars for like the time NFTs. I mean, those ended up getting dusty, but they were, it was a huge gas war, and then you were able to immediately flip those, which I, did not do. But yeah, I mean, in general, if a project is gassy, that means that there will be a little bit more of a demand on the secondary market. I mean, it is true though. Like the 10K profile picture economy is not very boisterous right now. Like the waking up every day to some new cute animal profile picture and having that immediately turn into profits. It seems like that meta is gone, if you will.
Yeah, it's funny too, because you think about, not that it takes a lot of effort to spin up these projects, but it still takes some effort. You got to get the art, you got to get the website, you got to get blah, blah, blah. So we just think of that was absolutely the meta in crushing in August. And now all those people who are trying to spin up projects are still, some of those are still coming, even though it's just massively slowed down. So we're in this stage now where it's like all the people, even though it's slowing down, they're like, well, we already spun up these cuddly koalas, so we got to still release
So
it.
we got to do it,
So we
right?
still probably have like a month of just these shitty profile picture projects coming out.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the coolest websites, that metaverse website was really cool, and those sold for like a day. The one that was most confusing to me of all of the ones I minted that were dust were the Avarex that had this huge Discord, like 35,000 people in the Discord. They had to do, I don't know if they had to, but they chose to do a raffle for their mint. So like you won the opportunity to mint, and they went to dust immediately upon reveal, which was, I was shocked by that. Like, I thought that was very bizarre.
Yeah, and I mean, it is the projects, losing their value after reveal is now something we've seen play out a ton. And then it goes back to that gambling thing. Like, a lot of times, if you're able to get in on a good mint, you can sell for profit pre-reveal almost every time. The question is, how much gamble do you have in you? Do you want to try to hit the rarity lotto, where then you could have the 50x, the 100x? And so I think that's the fun thing with all of this, is there is this kind of gambling nature to it. And if you want to grind the cash game version and sell pre-reveal, you can. Or if you want to play the GPP version and try to hit the rare lotto, you could do that as well.
Right. And one of the other things that really surprised me of all of this is how dusty the Mechaverse has been on secondary. Like, there were kind of some grumblings about it, that like, oh, it's so much hype, it's hard for them to deliver on all that hype. But it like, the Mechaverse, it's got this gigantic Discord. It had all this hype, there were people who had never done NFTs before, who were doing this as like, their first attempt at minting or whatever. And they're sitting on OpenSea at a 1.1 floor, which just feels like, I don't know, that feels really insane to me.
Yeah, and I don't know enough to give like a good market analysis on why that happened, but my hunch would be, like, we do see the super organic stuff is what tends to succeed, and there was so much hype. Yeah, the toads are a great example. There's so much hype around the Mechaverse that it was so inflated, and it became also like this gateway for people. It almost had that Top Shot feel, right? Like, early on when Top Shot was pumping, it was like, all right, NFTs are pumping. We have the Mechaverse. This is the project. Everyone and your buddies are entering the raffle and all this stuff. And then you realized how many people in there actually gave zero shits about it and were ready to dump it right away. It was definitely an interesting use case. And I think the project struggled too, because you look at all the floor ones, they all look the same. It looks like they're the same thing. And some of the projects that succeed, I feel like you look at them right away and you're like, oh shit, that's rare, because it, has a unicorn and a halo around it. When they all look the same, you're like, well, fuck if I know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like specifically the Mechaverse messed up by having the backgrounds basically all be the same. Like, having that, like, it, aesthetically, like, I guess it looks pretty cool, but having them literally all have that same like grayed out background it just kind of looks bland, which I guess people are not into.
Yeah. Yeah, I know some of the ones that and this isn't pumping my bags because I don't hold one, but I love the sup ducks. Have you checked out the sup ducks?
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, and like you were mentioning the backgrounds, like they have all these different kind of backgrounds, and it's fun when, different traits kind of pop on different backgrounds. So yeah, I agree with you on those. This is how we get away with not pumping. You talk about projects you don't even own.
I mean, there are just not that many projects that I do still own, to be honest, because like I mean, I have gotten more selective about the minting. I tried to mint one yesterday and got gassed out. I had my transaction fail, but my wallet is it's mostly PERS and Wanderers, which are the two things that I think are the coolest.
Yeah. how do you find yourself, because you and I both kind of started to go down this NFT rabbit hole more so than we had throughout the summer. Like we were in full on best
Right.
ball mode. Then we were drafting all our FFPC teams. The season got started. We go down this rabbit hole. How are you balancing kind of your mental capacity for like DFS, fantasy, and then also with this NFT stuff?
Well, definitely for like a month there, I was like in Club MGMI like all day, like wake up, check it. I'm on it before bed. And you know what? I got my screen time report at the end. You know, you get it at the end. It's, oh, by the way, the screen time report, you don't know this, Peter, because you have an Android, but you get your screen time report at like 7 p.m. on a Sunday. So you're sitting there, you've been watching football all day, you know, you feel like a big pile. And I got my screen time report that I've been on my phone for like 7 hours and 45 minutes a day the last week. And I was like, it's just absolutely unconscionable. Like, I cannot do that. It's
Dude,
so bad.
It's what's wild is that just crystallized for me. Like we started our meditation reading that toward the end of last year.
Yeah.
The season.
In November.
Yeah, and then we went through, I think it was April 1st was our final. And that was when I was in the best habit stacking of my life.
Good.
I was leaving my phone at my computer every night before I went up to bed, no screens in the bedroom before bed, all that stuff. And now it's like the complete opposite. You're taking your phone up, you're just scrolling on Discord and Twitter until right before you fall asleep. I'm grabbing it first thing in the morning. I haven't read a book since I read Chasing the Thrill, only because I was interviewing Dan Barbarisi on it a few days later. It's like, it's a lot of fun, but I'm already kind of looking forward to having a built-in excuse when like the season ends to unplug. And I'm just hoping that this NFT poll, like if there's one benefit to an NFT bear market, it will be getting back to some good habits.
No, that has been my thought as well. Like when I decided I was going to stop, like what I've been doing now is just trying to kind of grind like whitelists and stuff. So like I kind of have an idea in my head, like, okay, I know I need to be available, or I need to be able to get down to my computer because my office is in the basement. And like, okay, I need to go and get, I'll do my mint at 3 p.m. on a Friday or whatever. Instead of being like, dude, if I'm not in the Discord at 9:15 at night, and someone has, some mint that's generational wealth, like the fact that the 10K profile pictures are not dropping all the time and are not like guaranteed profit. It's just like a little bit of mental salve, I guess, of like, it's okay for me to not be on my phone right now.
Yeah, it's like the equivalent. I've tried to relate it here a little bit for people who aren't in this world, but I'm sure play.
It's like not checking Showdown until the games are over. Like there's no reason to sweat your MME Showdown stuff in the second quarter.
Right. And the other thing though, like with the football schedule, at least the rhythm of it is now, we know it. Everything is on the schedule. Like, know when your favorite sites ownership projections are going to be up. When inactives come out. Like, all of these things. You can plan your life around it in a very clean way. Imagine if to get into the DraftKings contest you wanted to play, DraftKings just randomly dropped them and you had to be in a Discord where people were hawking and refreshing the page and be like, the spy's open, go, 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 go. And imagine how that would tether you to your computer all week. That's what it is like with NFTs, because you get this FOMO of like, I am going to miss out and therefore I need to be ready all the time, which is not good for your screen time. It's not good for your mental health.
No, I had not thought of it like that, but yeah, you're right. And a lot of the people who are really into the NFT stuff, like they just don't care that much about DFS anymore. Like maybe they still play, but like the big compounding factor is seasonal fantasy football teams. So you lose another night because you lose Wednesday, or you lose at least an hour at some point. Like I do waivers. I go through all my teams Wednesday morning at the gym, and I just sit on the Stairmaster for as long as it takes, and I just get the waivers done for everything. And it's a giant pain in the ass because it's a little bit, it's more difficult on mobile than it is. It would be nicer to do it on my computer, but then that would be another hour or another 2 hours of sitting on my computer down, and I don't really want to do that. So I make myself do it there. But the DFS plus seasonal plus NFTs, like it is a lot.
Yeah. And I still find myself I get really excited for the showdown slates. I've been having a lot of fun with the run the sims and in running those before and looking for leverage plays. I love the puzzle pieces of the main slate, building, 3 to 4 lineups that I'm heavily invested in. Like I still get jacked up for that experience. But man, the one part of my week that I truly dread is when I do my waiver wire sweep on Wednesday afternoons. Karane's been super busy, so I've been getting in there before him, and we have like 16 main event teams collectively. And when I start pulling up those tabs and going through, like my will to live is just really put underneath the microscope there. And I can't complain because almost everything that I get to do now that I left my job to do this full time, I just truly love it. I soak it all up. And that's the one part of my week I'm like, God, I do not enjoy this right now.
The worst teams to do waivers on are the ones where you want to give up. You're like, shit, I'm 3-4. Do I really have to do waivers for this? And you're like, this is a $1,900 fantasy football team. Like, I can't be the guy who doesn't do waivers for this. Like, I gotta pick up Derek Carr this week because Dak Prescott is on bye. Like, having to do those is like, that's the really or doing kicker pickups or DST pickups. It's just like, this sucks.
Yeah, and I mean I think we talked about it with Crack Rock on a ship chasing stream, but I feel like the future will be, maybe you do quarterly waivers once every, 4 weeks or something like that. And then also, get to, if you want to keep kicker and defense, do team kicker, stuff like this. We don't have to constantly be worrying about all this stuff. I feel like season-long fantasy will need to evolve a little bit now that everyone just loves the kind of DFS best ball combo.
Yeah, and the emergence of best ball is going to put pressure. But I don't know, because I really feel like the FFPC, their demographic, the key people that are really churning in the entries, I would guess that a lot of those people probably feel that that's like some portion of their edge, right? Like, making sure they always have the right kicker, making sure they always have, they have, not only do they have a good defensive matchup this week, but they have another defense, maybe they have 2 defenses, they got them all lined up. Like, I bet a lot of the teams that, or a lot of the people that consistently, are doing like 30 main event teams or whatever, I bet that they would bristle at that at first. Cause I think a lot of the FFPC grinders don't like do the underdog best ball stuff though.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, there's a lot, and a good example would be when they got rid of, their full on draft master best ball format. That was the 28 round one. And they went to more of the slim version. And a lot of people were like, man, that was the edge, because just taking 3 kickers and 3 defenses was underutilized, and it just massively boosted your win rate. So I get it. Just the grinders will always have a bit of an edge if you're willing to swap out your kickers and stream your defenses, all that stuff. But as far as I'm thinking about it more from like growing the game and getting more people interested, like best ball is just going to continue to explode from a customer acquisition standpoint. How do we continue to pull more people into high stakes season long? I think we might need some creativity there. Like, why I would love a super flex high stakes main event, draft, something like
Would
that.
Be
like
so good. Yeah.
There's so much I think we can do to spice it up a bit.
Yeah. And you would need, basically you do need, I think the FFPC main event, I think, should remove kickers and defenses. I don't know. Is that an unpopular opinion? Like if it was a very similar format to the Scott Fish Bowl, like the Scott Fish Bowl, but for like a $2,000 entry would be amazing.
Well, and that's a good point, because if you love kickers, you can still play them in the Scott Fish Bowl. And if you don't want to deal with them, then you don't have to either. So yeah, something like that where you add a flex, but they're still, kicker eligible or something like that, I think would be perfectly good.
Yeah. So you really you haven't found any time to read at all, huh?
No, I haven't been. I mean, I've been reading like lots of magazine pieces online and articles and stuff on topics I'm interested in, but book reading, no. I've just been I just haven't made time for it. I'm at my computer a lot at night, and then I do unplug, like basically Friday evenings and Saturdays are kind of that's my like weekend, and been getting outside and stuff like that. But I have not prioritized book reading.
I mean, I hadn't read for a while. And then like when I saw that one screen report, I was like, dude, I can't do this. And our buddy Jay Kang has a book out. Hopefully he will be on the Take Cast sometime within the next 2 weeks. I think he's got to clear it with his publicist first, which is such a hilarious sentence to say about Jay Kang, considering I like came to know him from Grantland and Coin Talk Show and stuff, which is like the most absurd. But I watched Dune and I was like, dude, I want to reread the book. I found out, I didn't know this, there are like 5 sequel books to it, which
Really?
is that's like a lot. Yeah. But I'm pretty into that.
I still need to watch that. I finally am getting into a routine. I had a stretch there for about 4 weeks where I wasn't even watching any shows just because I was so busy. But now
So
we're
busy.
watching. Lauren and I excited about Succession back. We've been watching Survivor. Been working our way through Squid Game. I want to watch Dune. So finally, just being a normal person again a little bit.
Well, I mean, which it's hard for you though, because like I don't do any stuff at night. Like that's like my thing is, which I know that I like need to do, because I would be just as spun out and just as off of my game. So like I mean I made this decision a long time ago, but like I just am not every once in a while I'll hop on with you guys, or I did Club NGMI like a month ago. Like every once in a while I'll do it, but like and I sometimes I feel bad too, because people will reach out to me like, hey, will you come on my show? Like I listen to the show, whatever. And I'm like, dude, I would love to, but like, I'm not going on your show at 8:00 at night, which is kind of selfish of me. But I mean, it is selfish of me, but it's for like a good purpose, which is I want to stay sane.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely the play. I kind of, part of what like some of what I consider my job now, are my sponsorships with Underdog, with Run the Sims.
Right.
Like Underdog is the presenting sponsor for Club Top Shot, which is a quintessential nighttime show. Run the Sims sponsors my Showdown shows, which are, on Monday and Thursday night. So like a lot of the stuff that is my job is now at night. And so I've just kind of like flipped it to where I do make time to go to the gym during the day.
When do you go to the gym?
I go to these classes at my boxing gym, and he has a bunch of noon classes. So I'll go at noon, which is kind of the perfect time for me, because I'll write the newsletter in the morning, get some stuff done, and then just, force myself to get up from my computer. And then I'm back, can have lunch and get some more stuff done before the evening.
Have you ever tried to be an early morning gym bro?
I have, yeah. Back when I was at my day job and I would go in, because I kind of had a little flexible hours. I would go in at like 9:30 or 10. And so I would try to get to the gym at 8. And I always felt terrific, like banging out a workout in the morning. And I go to 10 a.m. Classes on Saturday. And I always feel like $1,000,000 on Saturdays after doing that in the morning. But just the combo now of staying up late, not having the classes, needing to write the newsletter in the morning, I haven't been doing it.
Yeah. I mean, so I actually like hate this about myself, that I've become an early morning gym bro. Like I never wanted to be one of these people. Like probably like, like 17-year-old me is like, dude, you're such a sellout, bro. You go to the gym in the morning and you intermittent fast and you work for the man. Like it's so embarrassing. But yeah, it's really, because what I was doing for a while is I was trying to go to the gym in the afternoon after work, and I can't. Like I don't have the I don't know if it's mental energy. I don't know, like, because you're using your brain and stuff, like it does, like you are you're using calories, like you're using energy that your body has and stuff. I've been if anyone has not listened to it yet, I've touted it a bunch. The Huberman Lab podcast. I mean, it is the stone cold best, and they talk about all kinds of stuff like this, of like why your body and brain does what it does. And like I just realized, like for my schedule, going to the gym in the morning is just going to be so much more like life EV.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about this the other day, because Lauren and I are actually starting to think about moving, just like further out into the suburbs, and trying to get more of like a single family home instead of our apartment and stuff. So I've started to think about like things that would change for me. And, you know, I'm very close to my boxing gym now. And if we go further out in the suburbs, like I'm not going to have that by me. And I'd probably have to program more of my own workouts. And what you said about doing that at 5 p.m. is extremely hard to get the mental energy to do that. And that's why I rely so much on these classes. And the only way I'm able to pull off night workouts, and like, I'm going to go to yoga tonight at 5:30 at my gym too, that's having a yoga class. And it's just because I registered for it. It's on my calendar. It's non-negotiable. I'm just going to like go do it. Whereas if it's like, oh, Pete, just go to the gym, but it's on your own to program your workout, that just combo of knowing, well, first of all, I have to go exercise. And on top of that, I have to use the mental, you know, effort to come up with the workout just demoralizes you.
Yeah. I mean, that is like a key example of like this, a Huberman Lab thing of like when like something is written down and you make it non-negotiable, you are just so much more likely to do it. Like the phrase, I want to start working out, or I want to start reading, or I want to start eating a little bit healthier is different than I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week. I am going to read $1 a month. I am going to only eat out twice a week. Even like you might even say like twice a week. That sounds like a lot. But I bet, and I know this is true for myself, if I'm not working towards a specific goal and I'm just like, dude, it's 4:30. I didn't get anything, like I didn't thaw any meat. I don't really know what I want to make. Like, what do I want to have for dinner? Like, okay, well, let's just go get Thai food or whatever. Like it isn't, because we don't want to make decisions, and we definitely don't want to make decisions when we're exhausted because we've been working all day.
Yeah. No, it is true. It's also, you probably get these from people who, you know, have aspirations to do content, and they'll ask you about, okay, what camera do I need? What mic do I need? And all these things where it's like, just get started. You just have to say, I'm going to do 2 podcasts a week, and I don't give a shit if the quality is low or whatever. It's like, you just have to start doing something, because the momentum and the rituals are so powerful, to where some of my stuff now that I do, like I've talked about it before with my intermittent fasting, which I've been doing now for, I think, like 4 years. It's not even a thing to me. It's not even something I have to try hard to do or think and exert extra effort on, because it is so hardwired into me now. And that's why, like, just trying to get any kind of routine and schedule is massive, because it takes the effort out of it.
So I'm back on the intermittent fasting thing after not doing it for a while. And from the time I get home to the gym until the time I eat, which is like normally about 10:30, is because I go to sleep early and I wake up early. So 10:30 would be like noon for someone who wakes up at 8, because I get up at 6 most days. I'm like so goddamn hungry. Like I get home from the gym. I let the dogs out. I go down to my computer and I'm like, okay, what am I going to have for lunch? Oh, am I going to put a little bit of creamer in my coffee at 10:30? Like a little bit of sugar? I'm like, dude, it's like crazy. But I just went through that whole bet with Kitchen for 4 months where I literally didn't break intermittent fasting once. And it just became part of my routine. Like, it's crazy how powerful, like just your schedule is, like your habit. Like I just got used to, eating something when I would get home from the gym at like 8 o'clock in the morning. And even though like, not eating for 2 hours, that seems like the easiest thing in the world. Like, just don't eat for like 2 hours. But I'm just like, right now, because I just started doing it last Monday, like I'm miserable right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing worse than, needing to focus and trying to do stuff, and then having, some kind of craving like that you can't get to go away. It's an awful feeling. I've just been fortunate with the intermittent fasting stuff, where I'll get so busy that my busyness actually works in my favor. And then it'll be like 4 p.m. and I'll be like, shit, I need to eat now, but I can't eat too much, because then I won't be hungry for dinner and I'll throw my whole shit off. So my scheduling actually is like, no, I need to force myself to eat, because I also want to be able to have dinner at a reasonable hour and not just have my entire eating schedule thrown out of whack.
Right. How's Showdown been going for you this year?
It's been fun. I basically go back and forth between, right now I'm in more of a 20 max phase. And I was actually just talking about this in the Discord with a couple people where I find the single entry 3 max sweats for Showdown just so brutal, just because it's so swingy. One play
Super
changes
swingy.
everything. Whereas like with a 20 max set, at least, or if I run 2 20 max sets, just having a portfolio, you're just less tilted when it's like, oh my God, little Jordan Humphrey just had a catch and now I'm dead. Like at least with that portfolio.
Nothing worse than the single entry 3 max sweat.
Yeah.
A $2,000 guy catches a touchdown in the first quarter. You don't have him. You're like, well, great. I guess no reason to watch this game.
Yeah. But I am having a ton of fun with it. Being able to run the Sims and then just doing the simple stuff of comparing it to ownership and just trying to identify the best leverage plays and being able to see the texture of the lineups that the Sims are spitting out has made it more fun for me relative to just like, okay, I'm going to run the optimals. I'm going to try to hand select these lineups. Just having a little bit more of a guiding light for that has made that process fun for me.
So when you do the Sims, are you making rules and stuff, or are you running it all off of the Sims and the leverage tools from in there? Because that is what I know. Like Colin used to do like hardcore with the rules and stuff, but now he's much more on the Sims, and like the same for Leone. Like 2019 DFS, they were heavy on the rules, but now it's all basically simulated stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And so like, I mean, I think the point too of like the optimizers and the rules, and when you're doing, I know you talk about like the booster stuff, the Sims, are accounting for that. Like it's understanding the correlation boost for you and applying that.
Right.
So the thing with that I do and run the Sims is you can change the macro level outputs. So like a really good example is last night, Alex Collins was way too expensive for his role. He was like 7,400. He wasn't showing up in any optimal lineups, but I wanted to see how bad of a play was he? Could I get him to be a good play? So I went and adjusted his market share of rushing and I boosted it back up to like 55% and brought Rashad Penny down to 15%, being like, what if we're a little too confident in Rashad Penny just coming in and getting a decent? And then all of a sudden, Alex Collins was showing up more in line with his ownership. And so he still didn't project to me as a good play, but it's nice to be able to tweak the inputs for those guys and then see like, wait, is this guy just a bad play no matter how you slice it? Or if this assumption is fragile, does he become a good play? And then being able to spit out lineups based on those different assumptions, I think is very helpful.
Right. Yeah. No, I still do the dinosaur stuff. Like I still am doing like rules and stuff, but it's funny that we're doing this today and talking about Showdown because I chopped the mini max last night with like, I don't know, 30 people because the lineup that won was terrible. But the reason that what I think is interesting is like, I'm trying to decide on some slates, like, oh, this is a good MME slate, or I don't actually care. Like, I think there's no good angle here. And I just play like the $33 or the $50 single entry instead. Cause I mean, that is one thing that I don't hear anyone actually talk about this stuff for DFS, but like contest selection based on perceived edge of the slate. Like, we talk about contest selection, right? Like, okay, yeah, we're loading up, I'm doing the juke, I'm doing the wildcat, like, and those are the contests that I play. But and I probably will never be able to like lever down on the main slate. Like I'll never want to be able to play less on a main slate, but like Browns Broncos, I thought was like the worst. On DraftKings, I thought it was like the worst showdown ever. Now, on FanDuel, what was interesting was, and Freeman pointed this out on Twitter, was that actually because there were no salary rules, a bunch of people were going to be entering horrible, duped lineups on FanDuel. But on DraftKings, I was like, I'm not MMEing this. Like, I'm not trying to chop my Teddy Bridgewater, Cortland Sutton, Dearness Johnson, Case Keenum, in 2 punts lineup 47 ways. But like on the Saints Seahawks game, I was like, oh, DK Metcalf is going to be like 20% under owned. So like I'm going to jam this slate. But like thinking about the perceived edges of the slate before registering it, I feel like maybe is good.
Oh yeah. We were talking about this with Wiggins and Leone on Tilt Space on Sunday, and Wiggins saying about how he waits until much later in the week to kind of decide, if he's going to go heavier on a slate, if there's a specific situation he really likes, a pricing inefficiency or something, and then attacking that. I think that's definitely the sharp way to do it. I'm guessing you feel similar to me. Like, I know, all right, I'm doing my Showdown cram. I'm playing Showdown no matter what. I'm doing the research for it. So I'm just going to register for the games. But if I weren't doing content and I was really a true plus EV grinder, like, to me, the best Showdown slates are when we do get the late breaking inactive. I even think Traquan Smith qualified a little bit last night. We knew he was coming off of IR, but we weren't even sure if he was going to suit up, whatever. Like, when you get news that isn't in the content churn all day, I think there's an edge there just in updating your projections and rerunning things with that in mind. So to me, I would look for those slates where, wait, when did we get kind of something that really changed the projections? I'm going to go heavier on this slate. And I've noticed that I don't play a ton of NBA Showdown, but when I do, like, the edge on those when there's a late scratch right before versus when nothing much has changed is pretty big.
Well, and that is even true for like main slate stuff too, though. Like if it's not in the content zeitgeist, either people are going to overreact to it, which they did. Well, I don't remember what week it was that the 49ers had a running back out and everyone played Trey Sermon.
It was week one, right?
Oh, right. And people played Mostert, and then Mostert got right. Okay, there we go. And Mostert got hurt. But like sometimes people overreact to it, and then sometimes there's other smaller things where it's like, oh, a slot wide receiver is out. Darren Waller being out last week with Foster Moreau was a huge one. Like, no one, because people were like not really thinking through it. And you have to be pretty inside NFL to know that like Derek Carrier is on the IR, and so that Foster Moreau was going to play like literally every snap. So Foster Moreau was like 7% owned. But funnily enough, I was looking at our projections when we were doing the Gilcast, because I knew I was playing Moreau, but Moreau was our number one value tight end with Waller out, and should have been like a 30% owned play or whatever.
Oh yeah, if we had known that all week, it would have been like the Ricky Seals-Jones week when he got up to 50% ownership. Like, everyone would have just been like, he's the free square, you have to play him. And that's why that was a fun edge, because anyone who was really paying close attention on Sunday morning knew Waller was on the wrong side of questionable, and it seemed very unlikely he was going to play. And then that's to me still where I get very stimulated from the game aspect of DFS, and knowing like, okay, I can, for some reason Waller's in, I can have Moreau in my flex, and I can just go up to a Tyler Johnson or a Van Jefferson. And then I can go down from Darrell Henderson to a Chase Edmonds, like thinking through those swaps. And I know you do that a lot for cash, but that is where there's probably one of the few edges left, is thinking ahead of those scenarios before the public does.
Well, in tournaments, a lot of the time I will just try and build my team so that I will have an optionality in the later games. Like, I will pretty much always play a worse projected option in the flex just to have it. And Holka mentioned this to me on his show on Monday, but he just, if at all possible, tries to play a 4 p.m. defense just so that he has some maneuverability left, which I think is a good idea. All right, seasonal stuff. It is a bummer for me, and I guess I don't know your exact portfolio, but like my teams, I think I got a shit ton of macro stuff right, but the micro stuff I got wrong is killing me. So like one big one being I was taking DJ Moore over Cooper Kupp. That is a stone disaster, because Cooper Kupp, you're like, I would be shocked if Cooper Kupp is not the number one player on the most advanced teams, even over Derrick Henry. And then other micro stuff, every rookie quarterback is a total bust. Lawrence will probably be okay. Like, Lawrence is not going to kill you, but Lance, Fields, Wilson is, they're just dust. They're doing absolutely nothing for you, which really sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, our team that we have with Pat is so unfortunate. Yeah, our portfolio overall,
we felt so good about that goddamn team.
It still is like one of those teams where you look at it and you're like, how
it should be better.
Bad? Yeah,
we did lose. We have lost 2 games in that main event by under a combined 10 points.
Yeah. Yeah, our overall portfolio is a mixed bag right now. We do have some teams that are set up really well. We were scooping that Jamar Chase dip in a bunch of drafts when he was like slipping to the late fifth, early sixth, and so those teams look really supercharged right now. I think our biggest thing that has hurt us. Hey, I was hoping you were gonna still be in here vamping.
No, I don't have because I didn't know if your internet went out or what. I didn't think I had it in me to vamp for like however long that would have been. So I was just like, I'm out.
Yeah, no, this was yeah, my power just randomly went out and I hear a bunch of sirens nearby, so I don't know what happened. But the one thing I love about StreamYard is the show still goes on
The show
even
goes
with
on.
yeah, but then I came in here and you were gone.
Well, I guess that'll create some editing for me in the lab later.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. The what I was saying is the thing that's hurt our season long teams the most is just our early round exposures. We had a ton of George Kittle, and that
Same.
stings. And then
Hurts bad.
we had a ton of Stephon Diggs, and he's been fine, but
But not, yeah.
he's been like a guy what you were hoping for when you drafted DJ Moore, like in the third, fourth round, and that was our first round pick. So it's just been we've still hit on so many of our wide receivers, you know, the Jamar Chases. We have some Mike Williams, you know, still lots of Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill. But man, when you're so loaded up on the same guys early, you really feel the swings.
Yeah, the Kittle thing, I've got him on 2. I do have one big dog team though. We took the big dog at 9 on one of them.
That's sick.
Yeah, and Big Dog bailed me out last year too. Had Big Dog on the team with Silva and Reeves and Foreman last year, so that one's nice. I mean, really, my main goal for the main event is to never have to put money in again. So just to keep free rolling forever. Which I guess I wouldn't have had to do if I hadn't won the meditation and reading bet with you. I guess I would have paid in for the one with you. But that team is not so. When we do one, me, you, and Crane, when we do one next year, I'll have to pay in. But it would just be if you were able to win your league or win total points in one league out of 3, you can just keep free rolling forever.
Yeah,
which is my goal with the main event.
Yeah, it's a good goal. And we were talking about how frustrating waivers are, but man, it is still so fun. Like that period in August when main event drafts open up, like that stretch
it's the best.
It's so fun. And I'll get sucked in every year to it because it is too much fun doing those drafts.
Yeah, it's like doing the drafts with your buddies. It is. I mean, yeah, like that's the best time of year. And like the best ball drafts are a lot of fun, but that's like more of like a solitary exercise. And also by like August 25th every year, I'm just like we got to get to the season. Because I just cannot, like my eyeballs are bleeding from clicking the draft button on Underdog so many times.
Yeah, I learned my lesson this past year where right before the season, I decided to have my genius idea of doing 12 days of best ball drafts when we also had 5 main event live streams. And I was just streaming drafts nonstop for 10 days. And I was so burnt out. And I was like, the season hasn't even started yet. What am I doing?
Weirdly though, so like the first like month of the season is pretty stressful because you're like, still getting your routine is changing, right? You lose basically an entire day of the week on Sundays because you, like for me, I get up, I normally try and do some sort of exercise in the morning, but like pretty much from like 9 a.m. to noon, I'm on my computer. Then I watch the games. Then I go down and do the Gilcast, and I do whatever for Showdown. And then I post the Gilcast, and like it's 9 o'clock at night. It's like you just lost your whole day. Like literally 12 hours just evaporated doing like just football shit.
Yeah. And that's why I did. It took me about 4 weeks, I think, into the season. I felt like I was still kind of flying around with my, head cut off there. And then you settle into the routine. I know the rhythm of every day, kind of my to-do list. You get more efficient. Like I do the first look salaries for Mayo's channel. And the first couple of weeks I was doing that, I'm like, all right, there's not many projections up. How am I going to do this? Like figuring out how I felt comfortable doing it. And then you get in a rhythm for it. And now I know I can just bang that out. And it's not too much of a cumbersome process, but like figuring out that process and your routine early on was definitely stressful. So it's nice to kind of be in a groove at this point.
Yeah. And it's like when also you'll get this, but like when you've been doing the same thing for like multiple seasons, it is like, because this is basically the same thing that I was doing last year, which is really nice. Like I know like this, we're doing this on a Tuesday. So like all morning from like 8 to noon, basically I was just like getting the projections in a good spot, like going through on injuries and like, changing stuff and adjusting team rates. And like once and also the benefit of doing that, and I bet it's the same for you on First Look, is like, well, then I've taken care of most of my opinions for the week on content. Like I don't have to like go be researching things for the Swolecast. Is like I already pretty much know where I'm at for the week.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy that. I would say you're probably the most prepared on the Swolecast for the slate and most familiar with that. I do my first pass. So I do the First Look salaries, but that's almost just like firing from the hip, just rolling through, just like you guys do on the Take Cast at the end. And then Wednesday, like I'll start to put in the first run of projections and just see like who's a good points per dollar play and stuff. But I feel like you've often even already recorded your podcast with Drewby walking through the slate.
We normally do that on Wednesday mornings. And, before we even do that, like we'll normally be like, okay, should we put this guy in or out? Like I've like even conferred with someone at that point, like, okay, is this guy going to play? Is this guy not going to play? Do we have the Chiefs for too many plays? Do we have the Chiefs, stuff like that? And so normally by Wednesday afternoon, I'm pretty good to go. And then, Soccer Dave, it's hard to be more prepared than Soccer Dave though.
This is going to be a rough show tomorrow.
I'm just gonna. My new thing with Dave is to literally just give him no attention. Like he tweeted at me after the Titans Chiefs game, like something like some GIF and like, oh, good game, and I literally just did not interact with it. I'm like, I'm not gonna give it. I'm not gonna give it to him, because what I'm gonna do is obviously gonna wait for the Titans to lose in the playoffs, and then that's because you can't. With Dave, the key is to like, if you give him an inch, he's going to take the mile. So you just got to wait him out. That's the only way to deal with Dave. You just got to wait him out.
Yeah, we're at an interesting stretch here now that Tuttle is in NBA mode. And
yeah, he does not. Yeah, he's very busy.
Yeah. But yeah, I like I talk about a lot on my DFS shows where it's such a battle. Like I do like kind of progressing through the week, through those things, getting more information, kind of feeling out what you like while not getting too anchored. And like, even this past week, I think I got too anchored to the Tua double stacks where I thought those were going to be fairly contrarian at the beginning of the week. I liked what they allowed you to do with the rest of your rosters. And then we flip over the hands at 1 p.m. and it's like the chalk stack. And I'm like, shit, I never allowed myself to get off of this on Sunday because I was so locked into it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I have done that a couple times. I mean, I played a 40% owned Arizona Cardinals defense this last week.
Well, you had a nice lineup though.
Had a nice lineup, but I mean, a 40% owned defense it's basically never acceptable. Like I thought they'd be like 20%. 40% is a lot. I mean, the thing I have to stop doing is I got to stop playing Mahomes double stacks. Yeah. You just got to do one of them. You just got to do Mahomes and Tyreek and a bring back.
Yeah. I've been doing just like tons of, like this week, I just did minis. I just mixed and matched Henry with Kelsey, Henry with Hill, AJ with Hill, AJ with Kelsey and stuff. And obviously only the AJ part of that hit. But yeah, I haven't done a ton of the Mahomes double stacks. My biggest leak has just been not playing Cooper Kupp even in tournaments. And this week, seeing him at 14.6% in a couple of the like spies and three backs, I'm like, what? The fuck? Why did I mess that up? Jeez, the internet's struggling today. Are you back?
Yeah, you there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. So in the Cooper Kupp thing, it's just like, I feel like this happens with a player once a year where the salary will keep going up, the ownership will keep going up, and you just feel like
You
it's
just get
always a
buried.
bad play, and then he just shoves it down your throat week after week after week.
Yeah, no, I mean, that really is. And like, I was talking about that with Holka too. Like, do we just need to start playing Cooper Kupp as a one-off and just like not worrying about it? Like treating Cooper Kupp like we used to treat Christian McCaffrey or Alvin Kamara or Le'Veon Bell back in the Steelers days. Like you if Cooper Kupp is under 20% projected ownership, or even like Devontae Adams last year, like how many slates last year did Aaron Rodgers get like 19 points, but Devontae Adams got like 37 and completely broke the slate?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's just having a hard time coming around to the fact, with old school Michael Thomas, it was just like, oh my God, this guy gets peppered nonstop. He has like 18 target upside. With Devontae Adams, it's like they use him like a running back in the red zone. With Cooper Kupp, it's like there isn't like the one like narrative thing to hang your hat on why he's different.
Oh, they just throw it to
use
him
all the everywhere.
Like that's the thing. It's like there's not one specific thing. They just give him the ball all over.
Yeah.
And also the other thing is like Robert Woods is still getting like 22-ish% of the targets. And so like the GPP bro is like, it's gotta even out. Like Robert Woods is going to have the explosion game. And like, I just don't think the explosion game is coming for Mr. Trees.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, Cooper Kupp's 9K this week. What do we think his ownership is in single entry?
High. I mean, who do they play? They play some terrible team, right?
Who do they play this week? There were hardly any games with an
they play. Oh God, dude, they played the Texans.
Great. So he's gonna be like 35 or 40%.
Maybe this is the week that the Darrell Henderson leverage pays off, and Henderson just has like 3 1-yard touchdowns or whatever.
We need it. I mean, it will be interesting because the next highest price, I like how we're getting into salary stuff, but Diggs is pretty expensive, but in a great spot against the Dolphins too. So maybe the GPP bros will Galbraith themselves off of Cooper Kupp again and back to Stephon Diggs. And when I say that, I'm talking about myself.
Well, it's funny because, Blender did the show with me like 3 weeks ago, and he was talking about kind of the difference between like, playing just like pure GTO, which is like, the solver tells you what to do and or the Sims tell you what to do and you just do what the Sims say, versus like this specific incidence of like, yeah, probably in like the $100 spy, people are actually probably going to play a little bit less of Cooper Kupp than they should because of that, whether it be Diggs, whether it be Hopkins, whether it be whoever, just like guys in that contest are actually more likely to level themselves. But in the play action or whatever, Cooper Kupp's going to be like 23% because those people won't level themselves and they're playing Cooper Kupp regardless of what the projected ownership is because they just want the points.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It'll be interesting this week. I still love the DFS puzzle. NFTs can't pull me away from it.
No, I mean, I find NFTs philosophically like way more interesting of like, what they represent and what they mean about like our society, that like we're more comfortable with digital ownership and like, the larger question of like, is it even healthy to have people who just want to speculate all the time? Like, is that the sign of a healthy society and a society that's moving past like, 9-to-5 jobs? Or is that like bad because it shows that people are not able to get what they need, financially from the job that they work? Like, that's probably not great. So like NFTs are more interesting that way, but the specific, I don't give a shit about cuddly koalas versus cute kangaroos. Like, to me, that's just like Rand or whatever. And some people might get really into that. They pull up their trading charts or whatever. But like, yeah, that is less, the DFS stuff is way more specifically interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun too. And it's also like, how long has the whole like sports betting is going to swallow up DFS play been a talking point? It's just like sports betting cannot hold a candle to DFS for how much more interesting it is as a thought exercise and a puzzle to solve.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is so like, because that argument works both ways. Like the sports betting people would be like, yeah, it's just so much easier. You just bet $25 on the Patriots, which like is true. But like and especially because sports betting content is so much more difficult, because if you're if you're honest in sports betting content, you're like, I'm hoping to win 55% of my bets, and it might even be unlikely that I win 55% of my bets. I'm mostly just here for a good time. And so like, it's kind of hard to get really specific into analysis if that is where you're coming from, because then you basically are just like, well, I feel like I'm full of shit if I'm like, this team is for sure going to cover the spread because of reason X, Y, and Z. And then the other thing is like, well, then the other sports betting content is terrible because it's just people lying to you about having, 79% win rates or whatever. And so like the DFS content is better for that reason too, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, doing sports, I talk about this with Hooper on Lulz a lot, but like good sports betting content is just so hard. It's so hard to do if you're not just focusing on entertainment, like if you're actually trying, because it's basically, there's good, there's people who are profitable and they put out tips and their calls and stuff like that, but the line moves immediately and then it's done. So it's like, that's helpful to the people who can hit the line, but how is that good content, or how do you make content around that? It's tough.
Yeah, because DFS is a static game where the provider can't respond to the content. It just means that there is more room for better content, which is not to say that people don't like sports betting content, because there are people that love sports betting content, but it's not as engaging to me. The sports betting content that is good that I like is like futures, because that there's way more room. But like, the odds that someone can do really good winning NFL sides content, like, oh, you got to bet Tampa Bay -3, is like, I don't know, seems probably pretty unlikely.
Yeah, no, futures is definitely the most fun. I would happily listen to a show that was like, I'm not super into NBA, but I would listen to a show that was like the best futures bet for this 2021-22 NBA season, go through, gives me some easy ones to pick off. And then on the bookend side of that, the best piece of sports betting content I've seen was the Darren Rovell Northwestern Sweat, where he was getting real-time buyout offers from, I think it was PointsBet or someone like that, as he sweated the game. And that is so fun. Like that kind of stuff. If you're sitting on a nice futures ticket and you have a sports book offering you cash out options, it's almost like our NFT stuff with paper handing it. Like it's going up and up, and it's like, when are you going to cash out, or are you going to try to ride this to the moon?
Yeah, that is so good. And like, and then you get to like, sit there and follow your future for like the whole year. Like I've been, oh dude, the Twitter victory lap I'm going to take when Shohei Ohtani gets AL MVP, it's going to be, I mean, set your clocks to it. It's going to be one of the longest victory laps in human history.
How did his season finish up? Because I remember him just destroying at the beginning of the season, and I feel like I didn't hear a ton about him toward the end.
Well, I mean, people just talk less about baseball, in the end, but he hit 46 home runs. He stole 26 bases. I think he pitched 130 innings, which is actually way more than anyone thought he would. I mean, he is a lock. Like he's gonna do it. The only interesting thing then becomes, because his team didn't win shit, is should he just be the MVP favorite just by like the nature of what he does? Which to me, yes. Like imagine if who's like the fourth best quarterback. Like imagine if Lamar Jackson was also a linebacker. That's basically what it is. It's the most absurd shit in human history. It's unreal.
Yeah, no, I don't even follow baseball that closely.
Talking baseball with Peter Overzet.
No, but it's insane. I think it's even more impressive than like Deion Sanders playing both ways. I mean, just
way more impressive.
The level of it would be more like if Steph Curry was Steph Curry and was playing regularly on the PGA Tour, which it sounds like he's pretty good at golf, but just two things that require an absurd level of hand-eye coordination and reps and stuff.
You're right. That is actually a better comparison. And Steph is a good golfer, but like he missed the cut when he got invited to a web.com event and missed the cut. So it is insane. And they're totally different skills, because you see like pitchers have to hit and they always suck. Yeah. They are like, there's no good pitcher who can hit, and there's no good hitter who can pitch. He's the only one in the world who can do it.
Right. And because I'm sure there are pitchers who could become better hitters if they spent
If they
all of their
worked,
time, but
yes.
then they would be sacrificing putting that time into their pitching. So it just shows what an absurd talent he is to be just that naturally good at both, where he doesn't have to devote all of his time to just one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like if I could, if you and I could do this and also have like a healthy work-life balance, which we know is never happening. It would be like if I could get through one of these shows without checking Twitter 47 times.
Well, that's my thing too, is like, for me now, the work in life is so blurred. Like,
Yes,
so much of my
that's
social.
what you learn. Yeah.
Yeah, because like hanging out, like when I do Club Top Shot and ship chasing and do Swolecast, like I'm hanging out with my friends.
With my
like,
friends.
Yeah, but it's also my work. And then I kind of now classify, like, I think of the NFTs as my hobby, where it's like,
Yeah.
that's the equivalent of my hobby. Like, I'm doing all this stuff that's work, and now my new hobby is NFTs, and then that's all consuming as well.
Yeah, which is it's so weird. I was just thinking about this yesterday because like what was it, 2 weeks ago I was sick, and so I didn't do this whole cast. Like I missed like 3 days of like work, but I was still like on my phone, in Slack, in Discord, like doing all the things that I would do in a normal work day. I just wasn't like live on any broadcast, so it's like, it's like, I don't know, I could choose to be like depressed by that, like, oh, like, dude, you can't get away from work even when you don't really want to be working. Or like the converse is like, it's sick. Like I mean, like my day to day is like nice. Like
Yeah.
I like my day. I like being able to hang out with my friends. Let's finish here. Where are you at on Top Shot right now? I don't know if there's been a state of the Top Shot on Club Top Shot in a while. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm still long-term bullish on Top Shot. I know that's not a popular.
It's really not a
opinion.
popular opinion, but I am too.
Yeah. And I get it. I think there's lots of stuff that I think is perfectly justifiable to be short-term bearish, and the supply concerns and a lot of that stuff. But you do really see that they're playing such a long game here. I think eventually it's like, all right, we do have to start delivering for our current users. And I am still hopeful that I completed the Celtics team set because I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get to do some cool
Go
things.
to a game or something.
Yeah. I went to the Celtics game on Friday. Obviously there was no like Top Shot presence or anything there, but I'm hopeful. One of my buddies has season tickets and he invites me sometimes. And so like, I am hopeful that there starts to be some fun stuff and some fun access to that. And you see, even with this stuff, like, people do really get excited about the merging of IRL stuff with the NFTs, whether it's merch, whether it's meetups, whether, whatever it is.
This NFT NYC thing, this is like an example of why the anti-TS bros are like, they're kind of full of it. Because like all the real NFT bros are so excited about this thing happening in New York. But like Top Shot basically did this for people via like a challenge done on the website, like literal utility added, and like the anti-TS bros, they're like, so stupid, bro. Too many moms, bro, too many moms. And it's like, bro, come on, like open your eyes, man.
Yeah. This I think will be a very big season for Top Shot. And as far as, I don't want to say make or break, but just in seeing them kind of deliver on the promise, because now it's like, this is where all the in-arena, all the utility stuff, whether it's rake back. I mean, I feel like this is the year to kind of really deliver and fully blow this up, because if you fumble the bag here this season, you're going to have so much doubt creeping in from basically every corner.
Win China, win marketing, right? I mean, I will say I like really tuned out for like months. And when I started getting back in, I was like, oh, these showcase challenges are really cool. I completed the Oklahoma City team set for S2, not S1, because I don't have a spare 22K for the Kevin Durant run it back moment. Yeah. But I was like, this is like exactly what I was asking for, like specific team stuff, ways to like show your affiliation, and like stuff to do with the moments inside of the game. And like the hardcore game, whatever, like, I don't know if people are still talking about the game, but like, you don't even need that stuff. Like, my idea was always for it to be like an ultimate team game inside of the website, and they've already started to do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, just the team they've assembled too, and the marketing resources. And you see Dave Feldman come over from the NFL, bringing a lot of those people over with them.
Noted Takecast fan, Dave Feldman.
Yeah. And Roham is taking meetings with Google, I mean, like, the kind of connections and resources that these guys are going to have at their disposal. It's just a matter of them getting organized and ready to deploy it in a smart way. But it's coming, and it's going to be very fun. I'm actually going down to New York. I decided to pull the trigger. I'm going to go to the Knicks Top Shot game with everybody on Monday. So I'm excited to meet some Top Shot people IRL.
Yeah. I mean, look, if anyone wants to buy the Darius Garland Bohm off market, dude, I'm not even kidding. I logged on today, and this was the first time in like 6 months that Bohm has been like that I've lost less than $1,000 on it. So that's like my temperature gauge on Top Shot right now. People have got to be in on Top Shot if Darius Garland's moments are selling. I do actually. So like there are a couple different ways things can go. I think, obviously the pros are going to complain about mint sizes for S3. Mint if you are prepared to get triggered about mint sizes, just cash out right now, because there are going to be mint sizes that are like going to blow. Like there's going to be LE is going to be like 50,000 in this set. Legendary, there might be 2,000 legendary counts for something that they would do. And I, in a weird way, like I think that's bearish short term, but dude, it's super bullish for all the S1 stuff, like super, super bullish for the stuff that has like that one that obviously is first and has like, no mint count.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I think the stuff there with the supply, but it makes sense too, that for the Series 3 stuff, I mean, you have so much more interest. Like they are trying to juggle the idea of the people who just want to come on and be able to get a pack. And so they need massive.
Yeah. I want to come on and buy a LeBron moment for $12 because LeBron's my favorite player.
Yeah. And I do think we're going to be getting to that point where there's going to be kind of tiered levels to whatever you want to do. Like if you want to buy $1,000 LeBron moment, there's going to be one of those. If you want to buy a $12 LeBron moment, there's going to be one of those too.
Yeah. And we're close. I mean, the Dapper Labs NFL thing made it sound like starting at the end of October, we should be on like high alert.
Yeah, that's going to be wild. I was messaging with my buddy, Mike Zakarian. You know Mike, and we've done some shows.
Dude, I tweet at Mike, like, so funnily enough, I probably tweet at Mike, like more than like my average follower, just because he gets like the NBA inside jokes. Mike is a cool dude.
Yeah, no, Mike is awesome. But where was my thought? Why did I
Dapper Labs NFL?
Oh yeah, I was talking to him too, where I was like, I'm excited, but I also am just like stressed out, because it's like we were talking about getting into a rhythm with our content and all this. Just about like once there's NFL Top Shot, like, well, now we're gonna have to do an NFL.
Now we're gonna have to do and we're gonna have to do a Swolecast on NFL top hits or whatever, and Tuttle's gonna have to tell us. Oh shit, dude. One thing I'm really not looking forward to is all the super boomer NFL NFT takes, because like we got a little bit of it during like peak mania in like February, but like all the super boomers who we like know from like, like fantasy football stuff, they're just gonna hate this shit, but they're gonna try for it. They're gonna be like, oh, I gotta get the packs, but the timeline is gonna be a mess.
Yeah, I hadn't even really thought.
I'm just telling you,
it'll be a shit show. Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it is going to be a mess, dude. Like a mess.
And it will be, because I think a lot of us who have learned valuable lessons from
pretty
Top
valuable
Shot,
lessons. Yeah,
there's going to be this new wave of people coming in who haven't learned those lessons.
I got scammed, bro.
Yeah,
too many mints.
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad.
At least it sounds like we're not going to have to deal with the wave of people saying that Top Shot is a Ponzi because they can't get their money out. Like at least that will, like, I think that they fixed all the stuff with KYC and everything, so there's not a big that was like the worst 3 weeks on the internet of my lifetime, was people saying that this multi-billion-dollar company was was a Ponzi scheme. Like that was like really an incredible time to be alive. Like Top Shot is just a rug.
Yeah. I mean, I basically now I've just used fully crypto with Top Shot, like on and off. It's just so much. It's like the same with the offshore sports betting.
I USD in and ETH out.
Really? Okay. There you go.
Yeah, because well, one, I don't want to hold that much ETH in my Dapper Labs wallet, but also I'm always looking to convert US dollars into fucking anything else. So like, why not convert it into Lisa Leslie run it back moments?
Yeah, that's the other thing as we wrap up here. I mean, last we talked, Ethereum was not 4,200 and Bitcoin was not what 6,300 or whatever we're at.
I wonder what it was. I wonder what it was last time we talked. I mean, certainly much lower.
We did have that. ETH did hit what, like 4,200 in April, I think it was. And then it just really pulled back, and now it's just been a slow build back up to it.
Yeah, as of this broadcast, $62,213 Bitcoin, $4,221 Ethereum. I mean, my advice remains the same. Every week, $25, $50, $100. Do Bitcoin, do Ethereum. You can hold it on Coinbase. You can hold it on Gemini. If you'd like, you can get a private wallet. I'm a private wallet guy, but for some people, I honestly might be a little technologically advanced to figure it out. Like if you know yourself enough to know that you're a little bit of a boomer, I would just sign up on Coinbase and just do it and just leave it there.
Just be careful when you're dollar cost averaging ETH, because then you'll look at it and be like, wow, I could buy these cuddly koalas with this ETH.
I would be careful, because let me tell you, buying things in ETH, it gets a little dangerous. You think in your head, all right, I'm going to send 0.32 ETH to Peter for some Tokyo 10s. And it turns out that that's like 1,200 American dollars that just evaporated.
There you go.
Tokyo 10s were a tough scene. I've learned some good lessons, and it's all about the friends we've made along the way as well.
I think you can, if you just plug a few of your leaks, a little bit of contest selection, a little bit of patience and moonbag holding, I think you'll have a much more enjoyable experience.
I'm on whitelist meta grind right now, and also I have Alexis Ren's NFT. It's going to the moon. That one's going to the moon. Not financial advice.
Have you told your fiance about that NFT?
No. I gotta add it to the hidden tab of the wallet.
Your favorite NFT is hidden.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Everyone, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for listening.